Welcome to Spotlight on Downtown. I'm John Shannahan. I'm the director of the Better Bennington Corporation. I'd like to thank you for joining us for the April edition of Spotlight. This month I'm going to introduce you to the director of the Tour of the Dragon bike race that's coming to Bennington this spring in a couple more weeks. But before I get with Jim, I'd like to thank everybody for an event that just passed this weekend, and that was the 100 for 100 juried art exhibit and sale. And that was this past weekend, and I'd like to say thanks to everybody for joining us. I'm glad you had a good time. We have a blast putting that on. I'd like to thank the volunteers and the artists who make it possible. This year we had an edition of Vermont Arts Exchange. I'd like to thank Matthew and his staff for joining us. It was great doing the interactive project that everybody got to participate in. We had Plein Air Vermont join us to tell us what was going to be coming up this fall with, I think it's the third annual Plein Air that's becoming pretty nationally known, and it's great that it's right here in Bennington, or North Bennington to be exact. And the Bennington Museum joined us also. So I'd like to thank everybody, and just want to ask you to keep your eye out. We only do it every 2 years, so in a couple more years we'll be doing the 100 for 100 again, and I'll make sure you guys know about it. Coming up on our agenda, we also have April 28th is the, I think it's the 7th or 8th annual Aurora Dance Party. This one is the Spring Fling, and it's going to be taking place at the Morse Industrial Park up off of Northside Drive. And the building it's in is the one that's just beyond the Bennington Iron Works. So keep an eye out for that. It's April 28th. It's the Spring Fling Aurora Dance Party. If you'd like any information on that, you're going to have to call the chamber. It's their event. But their number is 447-3311. 447-3311. And the staff over there, you can get tickets and they can answer all your questions. Beyond that, Mayfest is coming up. That's on March 26th this year. After that, we have Mayfest coming up on May 26th. That's Memorial Day weekend on Saturday. And you'll be hearing and seeing a lot about that coming up. But this year we have a new addition to the show. The Willemsack Farmers Market is going to be joining us at Mayfest this year for the first time. So we're really excited about that. And they're going to be at the end of the show, starting at Valentine Street near the Mexican Connection and going all the way down the street. And they're going to be setting up, or starting I think about 10 o'clock and going until around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So make sure you join us this year because we have all the food vendors, we have all the entertainment, all the local entertainers, and if you're interested in being part of Mayfest as far as their entertainment goes, please give us a call at 442-5758. The deadline is passed for vendors, but not for entertainers. We have 7 stages set up, so we have lots of room, lots of time, and we like to get as many people as possible to put on an exhibition downtown and let the local community know that you're here. So that's about it for our spring events coming up. There's a lot more things going on, but today we're going to focus on Tour of the Dragons bike race. Today I'd like to introduce you to Jim Marshall. Jim, you're the director of the Tour of the Dragons. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, John.
And thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start off, we were talking earlier about what we're going to talk about on today's show, but let's start off with the history of Tour of the Dragons.
Well, the history of the Tour of the Dragons is that the Bennington Cycle Club had looked for an event in the Bennington area for many, many years. And last year we had the opportunity to launch an event in concert with the United Counseling Service, great organization. And we put on together we put on an event called a stage race. A stage race is comprised of a number of individual races within an overall event. And in our stage race, last year called the Bennington Race Weekend, there were 3 stages, and those are broken down into an individual time trial, a downtown criterium, short course, many laps, very fast, and a long 62-mile road race. This year we brought on board a team that specializes in doing bike races, professional bike races, and essentially we're using the same courses. That is a time trial again in the South Stream Road area, the downtown criterium, and a road race that starts and finishes in Manchester.
Who did you bring in? What's the name of the company?
The company is called Anthem Sports, and you may be familiar with Anthem Sports for the work they've done with the Tour of the Battenkill. The Tour of the Battenkill, of course, grew, well, it's in its 8th season this time. It's grown from a fledgling race with 250 people, and they expect upwards of 3,000 people this year.
And excuse me, when you say people, you don't mean spectators, you mean 3,000 cyclists.
Yes, 3,000 participants.
How does that compare to other races across the country?
Well, that eclipses other races across the country significantly. Most of the races in New England area run between maybe 400 and 600 participants.
No kidding. Yeah.
Those that are established and have been around for quite a while.
How come that one's so large?
Well, they were clever in that they did it early in the spring, so it was a jump ahead on the schedule. It became the first race on the racing schedule. They also parried off the concept of some of the European spring classics, in specific the Paris-Roubaix race, which is a race from Roubaix to Paris, and it's called the Hell of the North. It races on cobblestones and dirt roads and paved roads. But because it's in early April, it's muddy and wet and stinky and filthy. And they say that those people who have exceeded or excelled in that race are real heroes. So Dieter Drake, president of Anthem Sports, had leveraged off this concept of really tough, difficult races and started the Bat and Kill, he called it Bat and Kill Roubaix in its first year, as establishing it sort of in partnership, if you will, with the Paris-Roubaix, and it is 62 miles long also, and encompasses about 18 miles of dirt roads. And as you can imagine, dirt roads in Vermont or in Washington County, New York, in this early springtime, they're wet and muddy and dusty and nasty, but it's a badge of honor to be able to finish that race and come in with your jersey completely, covered in mud.
So obviously it works. It's attracted over 3,000 people now, and it's only in the 8th year. So whatever the secret was, it caught on.
Absolutely, and when I was planning this race, the Tour of the Dragons, I looked first at the calendar and said, what are logical good time of the year? And it made sense because it's a lull in the normal tourist cycle for Bennington County. Skiers have left the area, it hasn't warmed up, summer tourists haven't come here, so it really made a lot of sense to try to bring people into the county during a traditionally slow time of the year.
Yeah.
And so that was number one. Number two, the Tour of the Dragons is the first stage race, other than a professional race out in Utah, that occurs on the East Coast. And we felt that having a stage race this early in this season would be very attractive because it's a real challenge, a real early season challenge, and it might bring in people that we wouldn't otherwise see. And I think that by virtue of the number of folks that we've seen from Canada come down and race in here, the number of people from the South that came and raced last year, North Carolina, South Carolina, a lot of people from Virginia, a lot of people from the Maryland area, New Jersey area. We were attracting about 85% of the competitors from outside Vermont. And that's exactly the type of sort of economic inflow that we want into the county, into the region, for an event like this.
Yeah, we had talked too about the type of people that it attracts, the Joint Economic Development Committee and the efforts that everybody does around town. That's pretty much a new market for people coming to Bennington too. It's not the typical history buffs, the skiers, the fall foliage group. This is a new market that is coming to town, and at a really quiet time of year. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, it is a win. Well, I believe it's a win-win, and brings people in at a slow time of the year. And the multiplier, the statistical multiplier in bicycle racing is about 3.5 people or 4 people for every racer. That is, if we have 500 racers this spring, that means 2,000 people will be in the area. And 2,000 people visiting our restaurants, in our hotels, in the variety shops, getting gasoline. The spread throughout the area is very significant.
And the multiplier doesn't include spectators. That's their staff, their crew, their spouse.
That's right. That's direct to those people coming into town. And then because cycling or bike racing, it's fast, it's intense, it's emotional, it's colorful, it's a wonderful spectator sport. In fact, it's probably the only professional sport where you can stand a foot away from the
Action.
participants,
Yeah.
the action going by, and witness what's happening. You'd never be able to do that in professional football or hockey or basketball. This is happening right in front of you. The other thing that's really great about the sport in general is the cyclists are very approachable. You know, when they're hanging around on the streets, either before the beginning of a race or after the race, or when they're cooling down, don't be afraid to come up and chat with these folks. They're interesting. They want to share their excitement with being here with you. They want to learn more about the area, and they're very approachable. Really terrific group.
And I heard, before we go on to the type of races that that's going to be taking place, and we'll discuss those, I wanted to just mention the racers themselves. Last year, this is our second year, right? The first year was last year.
This is our second year, yes.
Last year, as the racers were hanging out, a lot of them mentioned that they really do love coming to Bennington. They like the course, they like the hospitality, the accommodations, the people, everything about us was...
Yeah, it was a very, very positive experience. You know, first year, I needed to make sure the courses were the right blend of being really challenging, being safe, and exciting for the participants. You know, I had to do the participant end really, really well. The very positive fallout that came from that was the feedback from the participants of how hospitable and friendly the people were that they met, you know, downtown in Bennington or in Manchester along the way, and how much they learned about the area. Very positive feedback about the downtown Bennington itself, the shires of Vermont, you know, in general, and the Manchester area as well. So really, really terrific feedback there.
All right, so now let's go on, I don't even know if I mentioned, it's a two-day event. It's May 5th and May 6th. Let's start with the May 5th. Jim was talking earlier where you can get up close and watch the excitement and the speed. That is the downtown criterium.
Yes.
The criterium, if you don't mind telling me what that's about.
Let me back up just a second before I get into that.
Sure.
Another benefit that we didn't realize was going on, the cyclists coming into town, was more than 10% of the people who participated last year were in town doing recon on the courses prior to the event. So that meant there was kind of a doubling effect numerically, but the fact that they were here in advance, staying overnight, being in the area, it's a kind of another metric of the economic impact, positive economic impact into the area. The racers will be coming into the area on Friday, May 4th. Again, they'll be doing things like pre-registration and getting organized, but they'll be out here riding the courses. And you'll see, people will see them downtown, people will see them out South Stream Road, out around Barber Pond, and maybe even up in the Manchester area. Now, to get back to your question specifically, on Saturday, May 5th, 2 races will be going on at the same time. And the one that we're talking about most specifically for the downtown area is called a downtown criterium. What is a criterium? In bike racing jargon, it's a short course where the cyclists make many, many laps around the short course and in a downtown setting. It's very popular in Europe. And it's become increasingly popular in the United States, in part because it's quite often difficult to get the long roads out in the countryside, but more importantly because it's an incredibly positive spectator experience. People should be lining the streets, watching what's going on. And I should mention, you know, the streets are open for people to come down and enjoy the festivities. Come down and just be part of sort of the overall exhibition that's going on. It's exciting, it's thrilling, you'll love it. So starting off on Saturday morning, roughly at 8 o'clock, we'll race the lower categories, that is the beginner categories are raced first, and they'll do 20 laps around a block that encompasses Main Street, Silver Street, Hillside Street, South Street, and then back to Main Street. And they'll do 20, and that's 1 kilometer long, 0.6 of a mile long. They'll do 20 laps of that course. And then there'll be a 15-minute break where the cyclists clear the streets, pedestrians can get back and forth across the street. The streets are open for the pedestrians to, to get from one side of the street to the other safely without worry of getting run over by a mad cyclist. Then the streets close down again, and there'll be a second group, again, kind of a beginner group, and that proceeds throughout the day as we get closer and closer to the ultimate race, I suppose, which is the men's professional race, which happens late in the afternoon. And they do 55 laps of this course. And it doesn't take them much more time to do 55 laps than it does the beginners, 25 laps. But and their average speed last year around the course was 27 miles an hour. And
Which doesn't sound like a lot if you're going straight down Main Street.
Right.
But if you stop down on Saturday and you want to see some hairy action, standing right in front of the Welcome Center here, as they're coming down Hillside Street, they make that sharp turn onto South Street. I don't think we had any serious accidents there last year. There was one in the Four Corners.
Yeah, it was funny.
But it was exciting to watch.
This corner right out here is the one where you would expect the majority of the big accidents to happen, and people did crash there, but there were no serious accidents. There were a couple of, a dislocated shoulder, a broken collarbone, but they happened at what I would consider non-critical corners. Right. So it can happen anywhere in the course.
Right. So it's a lot of fun standing around watching them, and it's exciting to watch them because they come in a pack.
Yes.
Trying to get around that corner at the same time.
There is very little room between cyclists, side to side, front to back. They're professionals because they know how to ride in a pack like that, very close. And that's one of those things. Everybody keeps their line. Everybody goes around the corner very close together. Everybody expects the other person to do the right thing, and generally they get around clean.
And they do. Yeah. So as we talk about the races and the times and the location, we haven't even talked about the map yet. I think I'm just going to ask you right now so that people can start writing it down. The website will have the map on it. Your website, the Tour de Dragon website, will have the map, have the race times, the crosswalk times, all of that. If you let these folks know where that is so that they can go find that, copy it, write it down.
Okay, the website is www.tourofthedragons, plural, all one word. So it's tourofthedragons.com. And on that website, the maps are not loaded right now, but they are ready to be loaded immediately. And we will have each one of the heats, think of them as heats, each one of the heats listed time-wise when they start, when they're expected to finish, the break time after they're finished when the pedestrians have free access to the roads throughout the day. So that whole schedule will be there. As I say, it will start about, I think the first start is actually at 7:30 in the morning, and it will run through about 7 in the evening.
Okay, so it's all there. Yep. Now, you can go to his website. I know a lot of you are in the habit of going to the betterbennington.com website. If you go to our website, betterbennington.com, and click on Events Around Town, scroll down a little bit, I guess not that far because it's coming up. We have the Tour of the Dragons listing right there with a link. You click on the logo, it'll take you to that website. Or if you want to stop right down to the Welcome Center, we'll have copies of that information for you as soon as we print it up, which is pretty soon, very soon. So there's a lot of ways to get that information on where you can park, where you can come downtown, where's the best place to watch, how you cross through, the times to cross through. Yes. When you're doing business, there'll be some activities on the inside of the track downtown that Saturday. So we'll have a list of events that are occurring then too. So a lot of reasons to come downtown. Of course, the race is going to be the star, but keep an eye out for other things that the merchants will be doing at the same time.
Now, Chief Doucette has been, and his crew, and R.J. Jolly and the highway folks in the town have been very supportive and very helpful in developing a plan that allows everybody easy access to the downtown area while diverting things like tractor trailer trucks to detours around town. And I think that's one of the areas where we really improved over last year, was the ability to bring the road closure right into the downtown area, because these roads specific to the course will be closed to vehicles, but to allow as much access with regular vehicles, with residents and with local spectators and stuff, into all the public parking areas and into the businesses that are on Main Street or in the downtown area. So big thanks to Chief Doucette and his crew for, accommodating the event in such a positive way and really making that happen. Likewise, so all the public parking areas are open, people can get downtown.
All right, then let's go back to which streets are open, but before we do, let's discuss the race course itself. And as we do it, I'm going to give you some visuals when we say like the four corners, and that's where People's United Bank is. Let's start at that corner and go east, so
Okay.
people can picture in their mind where the track is going to be.
All right, let's start at TD Bank on Main Street.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start there because the race course, the racers start about there. Easier for me to think.
You're starting halfway down the street.
Right.
But, okay, so we're at TD Bank on Main Street.
TD Bank on Main Street, heading east, and we take a right turn on Silver Street,
Which is the library.
where the
So-
library is, right? And the racers will be on Silver Street, they cross over Union Street, and they climb up the hill, and then turn right on Hillside Drive. Hillside Drive, of course, is where the Second Congregational Church is. They pass the church on a hillside, they get to Friendly's, or I should say, they descend the hill down past Friendly's into a hard right-hand turn right opposite the Better Bennington Corporation building here. And hard right turn onto South Street, and they're still descending on South Street, takes them up past South Street Cafe.
You're going back north again.
They head north on South Street,
Right.
so passing the Verizon Wireless on the left-hand side, the bank on the right-hand side, take a right onto Main Street, and now they're heading east on Main Street and heading back to the start-finish line, which is opposite the TD Bank.
So it's four corners to the Silver Street, which is the library,
Yes,
or going south to Hillside Street, which you'll come out at Friendly's, and then the Welcome Center, go back north to the four corners, and it's that square right there.
yes,
Which, within that is Union Street. So Union Street is the one that's affected by traffic. So if you got any business to do that day, or if you're working downtown, the access to Union Street during the race is going to be from the eastern side of Union Street.
yes.
So you got to go down all the way to the beginning of Union Street, come up, and that's where the traffic cop will allow you to cross.
Yes, we'll have police stationed at Union Street with again, Chief Doucette's people have been very, very supportive in saying, we'll have somebody there. We know the road closed and road open times, they'll be posted on the website. And when the race course is shut down for racers, Union Street is open for two-way travel across Silver Street.
Importantly, all of Pleasant Street is open.
Yes, all of Pleasant is open,
South is open, coming all the way up to Elm Street.
correct?
So you can get in nice and close to downtown. So the parking behind the town offices, the parking behind CCV, Pleasant Street parking, Union Street parking, they're all, not Union Street parking, that is off limits unless you can come in between the race. But all those perimeter parking lots are open.
Correct.
And easy to get into.
All the perimeter parking is open, and School Street is open down to the TD Bank parking lot. So School Street will bring you right down almost to Main Street. And I think those are the key access streets into the downtown
Right,
area.
and you can come in further, if you're coming in from the west, you can go past Greenberg's this year and get in through the Citizens Bank into the parking lot back there as well.
Yes,
And then North Street from Pleasant North will all be open, where last year that was closed. So
Right.
you'll be able to come much further closer to downtown.
yeah, the major improvement was to bring all the barricades that were positioned further away from town, much closer into town to really promote traffic local spectators, locals getting down for business, to promote ease of access for them to get to the downtown area. And at the same time, the police chief is going to have officers that are out at Safford Street, County Street, and further out to the west, so tractor trailer trucks or, you know, large rigs don't get caught up in the downtown snarl.
Well, we'll get rid of that pretty soon. That
That's
279
right, yeah.
is almost done. So everybody knows where the track is. They know the date, May 6th, or May 5th and May 6th. They know what the downtown criterium will include. They know what we're going to have going on down there. They know the website, contact phone number. Is there one for Tour the Dragons, or should we?
Sure. The the contact phone number is area code 401-440-7760.
All right, and that's and again, you can stop down to the Welcome Center, and we'll have maps and information that you can pick up hard copies. Okay, so that's the criterium. You said there's two other races. One is the individual time trial,
Yes.
and that takes place the same time as.
Yes, there are going to be 13 individual heats, if you will, for the downtown criterium. At the same time, there'll be 13 individual heats for what is called the individual time trial. And that's a race in which the racers race one at a time on a set course. So they start one at a time, 30 seconds later, the next starter goes off, and they race around a set 10.7 mile course. Essentially, they call it the race of truth, or the race around the race against the clock. And so what we have going is, at the same time as the races are going on downtown in Bennington, racers will be out on South Stream Road doing the individual time trial. Individual time trial, the racers basically are single file. Every once in a while there'll be a passing situation, but most of the time it's just one racer racing down the road. So it's much more, it's much easier for local vehicles to negotiate the fact that there's a cyclist on the road.
Road's not closed.
The road is open.
Caution on,
I beg your pardon?
caution on South Stream Road that day.
Well, definitely what I was about to mention is that the cyclists are going to be going much faster than people are used to. Much, much faster than people are used to, especially on South Stream Road. You'll see sections where they'll be approaching 45 miles an hour. And generally just people aren't used to a cyclist going by a car. So what we ask is it's one day. Please be patient, please be really careful, please be super aware that the cyclists are out there. We want to have another safe, we want to have another really excellent event. We thank everybody for their cooperation and their help. And please, again, if you just be careful, use common sense, that will make it a win-win for everybody.
So that is Saturday, May 5th.
Yes.
May 6th is from Bennington to Manchester.
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
May 6th, the race starts in Manchester. Actually, it starts at the Dana Thompson Rec Park. And they race north all the way to Paulet.
Oh.
And then they turn the corner and they race back over the mountains, the first big climb over the mountains. Pop down into West Rupert. Then they race over the second major climb of the race, which is past the Merck Forest entrance, descend into Dorset, and they traverse Dorset and then go across Morse
How
Hill
does that
Road.
start?
That starts at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, okay.
Yep.
What we would like to spend some time talking about is the volunteer opportunities and the fundraising opportunities for area nonprofits. How it works.
Okay. It's called our Group Give Back Program, and one of the things that's very exciting is the ability to put money back into community not-for-profits, not-for-profit organizations. The way we do it is we need volunteers to help make a successful and safe event. And for any not-for-profit organization that provides 10 volunteers, the race organizers will put $300 as a contribution to that not-for-profit. If you provide 20 volunteers, we'll provide $750 contribution to that not-for-profit. So it's a real win-win for everybody across the board. Win, certainly for us, we need the volunteers, we need the support. Most of the volunteers are road marshals helping to direct traffic, especially important on the long race on Sunday. But we also need set-up people downtown in Bennington. We need pedestrian marshals in Bennington. We need some marshals out on the road, South Stream Road and on Barber Pond Road for the time trial. But the key thing there is that if any non-for-profit, and I spoke to the Lions Club in Bennington this morning, they said we're getting together 10 members and we'll make a $300 contribution to that organization. And already I've been approached by 6 different not-for-profits in the region. So that's...
I'm not surprised, and the reason we're making I'd like to make such an issue out of it, is we do Mayfest, and it's all nonprofit. A lot of nonprofits want to be in the show, and they're all wondering about fundraising opportunities. Here's your chance. I want to talk quickly about the age minimum, 18 years old to work in the road.
Right, 18. You have to be 18 years of age or older to work out on the road. You know, we don't want
but
youngsters.
they can help set up and tear down.
They certainly can help up, set up on Friday afternoon or Saturday morning early, although most under 18-year-olds don't like to get out of bed that early.
For that amount of money,
All right.
$750 is a lot. I know there's some groups who work all day long for $150.
Or their parents.
Or their parents, all right.
Yeah.
So again, call here, 442-5758, or...
Call me, 401-440-7760, or go to our website. The website is a volunteer page, and it shows all the breakdown of the times, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday where we need volunteers. And if you're a course marshal, we try to get you on the road close to your house. We also do training to make you comfortable with the job that we're asking you to do. And so it's worked out to be a fabulous program in the past with the Tour of the Battenkill. We're really excited to bring it to Bennington.
Oh, fantastic. Jim, thank you very much for your time
bet.
today. Good luck with the race.
Thank you.
Make sure your group, or you're here as a spectator, or your group as a volunteer to make this event happen and watch it grow in Bennington. And thanks for keeping us on the map. Stay tuned. Next month, we're going to be taking you to meet the owners of the new Vermont Voltage soccer team and the soccer academy that's coming to downtown Bennington. And we have a big surprise next month too, that we're going to be taking the cameras through one of the newest additions to downtown Bennington, and we've been waiting for this news to go public for quite a while now. Thanks a lot for joining us. Jim, thanks again.
Thank you, John.
We'll see you next month.